Recently, you have two viewers waiting. Cube.
And we are live, I believe. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a session of Spring Gravel just for a little bit of fun and to test out a couple of cars for something I'm dreaming up for. So I'm gonna head into the stage now, and basically, before I begin, I'll explain what I'm doing tonight. All I'm doing really is just testing 2 or 3 different cars for perhaps maybe a championship that might come up in the future. A lot of guys are talking about it. Basically reviving either a Malaysian championship, E-championship like we did last year, or maybe even like a Far Eastern sort of championship where we get all the drivers in Asia. This is basically inspired by Timothy Mabut's attempt. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Do leave a comment down below. I've never heard that name said. But anyway, Timothy runs WRC2 Pro and WRC Gamers Club, and they do a nice, fantastic championship called WRC2 Pro. And this is sort of basically part of the research I'm doing for doing an Asian series. So do leave a comment down below saying which one of these 3 vehicles you'd like to see out there. 2 of them quite realistic. 1 of them, maybe it's just me liking rear-wheel drive cars and being very... very much myself. So in any case, I'm going to head out to Taylor Farm Sprint and talk a little bit more about it while I drive, which is something very, very new to me. But in any case, this is the first of the cars, a Ford Focus 2007. This is the up to 2000cc class cars. And that's sort of the first car we're going to try this evening. And I'll try and explain why I think this is a good car as we head into the stage. So without further ado, without all my yakking, we'll get going.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Black.
1, go. 100, grid, 6 left, very long of a crest, 30.
I almost forgot to mention that we have Almeister here.
60.
You all know a very, very quick Malaysian Dirt Rally 2 driver, far faster than I am, and Javi Alvarez, who's joined us in the Discord there in the background.
6 right of a crest.
We'll see what
30,
they think.
6 left, 5 right of a crest to grid, 5 left, 30, 4 right of a crest into 5 left, into 5 right long, opens of a crest into turn square left unseen.
The nice thing about this car is that it's
30. 6 left of a crest.
Easy to learn, hard to master.
To black, middle of a crest. 30. 4 left. Tightens 3. 50. Tarmac bridge into 3 right tightens.
You can tell the differentials are working.
30. Crest into 4 left long. Tightens 2. 30. 6 right into 3 left long. 50 through grid. Tarmac. 80. Flat middle of a long crest. 100. Turn cut square right. 50. Flat middle of a jump maybe to gravel. 50.
Okay.
So this is the Ford Focus 2007 WRC car, as driven by Jari Matti Latvala, Mikko Hirvonen,
What?
and
Up to 2000.
yep.
6 left of a jump.
So Jari Matti Latvala, Mikko Hirvonen, Marcus Gronholm. So three flying fins of Ford back in the late 2000s.
120 gravel. Flat middle of a crest and grid.
This is basically what WRC cars were for a long time. 2-litre turbo WRC cars.
Into 6 right.
Active differentials, helping you get around the corner.
Very long, tightens 4.
It's all about ultimate speed
into caution,
and
4 right long, tightens,
being very precise with the
into 2
controls.
left on cut.
But it rewards you.
Into 3
Very
right
rewarding
long,
car to drive
tightens
there.
2.
As I almost crashed.
Into 3 left. Into 4 right. 30, turn square left, don't cut through narrow gate. 50. Flat middle of a crest jump, 50. 5 left, into 5 right, into 5 left long, into 5 right long, continues, opens of a double crest, 30. 5 right of a dip and jump, into 5 left long of a crest, tightens 4. Into 6 right of a crest long, tightens 4 narrow, into caution, 5 left long, tightens 2 of a crest.
Subscriber.
30.
Thanks
Five
to
right.
all of you guys subscribing.
Into 5
It's
left of a
actually
jump,
my other
maybe.
account. I just
4
think
right
I
long,
All one of you.
into a crest. Into 4 left, don't cut to a narrow
the
bridge.
personal one that I've been using
80.
to watch YouTube videos. The other one
Crest,
is
a 3 left, opens of a crest, 30.
Still, that's a 200
Into 4
200% increase on the usual.
60 over finish, into crest, to stop.
Yep.
So there you have it. Down this stage, 355. I'm just driving quite slowly through there, but while we have a look at the replay, because why not? First of all, you notice that because Potato PC, I don't have the dust turned on. And also gives us a time to talk about this
Right of a
class
jump,
of car.
40. Flat jump, into
The tricky thing about this car is that it's obviously a little bit heavier, but there's so much technology and stuff that's helping you go around the corners that, to me, it's easier to drive this car through the stage if you just want to finish the rally. But of course, it's quite difficult to try and drive the car very, very, very fast. So, I mean, that's one option for this hypothetical championship that I'm thinking of trying to set up. But in any case, very, very nice car indeed to drive, especially this Ford Focus, and there's a lot of other different cars. They've got the S5 Subaru Impreza WRC, the
left,
two-door,
tightens 3.
and also the
50.
hatchback Subarus, Citroen C4, all sorts of other stuff. So I don't know, Maisa, what do you think about this car?
Just lovely.
Yeah, isn't it?
I think the car, to me, feels much better than the Citroen C4 itself. I mean, the Citroen C4 in its default setup state, the car understeers in some of the corners. I mean, not every corner, but I think the car is much easier to learn compared to the other car, and it's way faster than most
Into
cars
4
in
right long,
2000cc
opens to
category.
tarmac.
That's the thing, it's like a whole history of early WRC cars, isn't it? Like, you've got cars from the late 90s all the way up to 2010 when they changed to 1.6 cars. What do you think of doing a championship with just these up to 2000cc cars?
Would be good, especially if you like if you use like locations that might play nice with this kind of car, like fast stages or and the lights.
Yeah.
I the other day I played like
Narrow gate.
a club which is 1000cc on Finland. I've tested out certain things like damper stuff. I make sure everything is set as firm as possible, and the car handles lovely when you go over a jump, the jump.
5 left long of a crest, tightens.
Yeah, it's got fantastic dampers, that's all I can say about it as well. It feels so natural, I don't have to adjust much. Mostly I just adjust toe and camber. Like right now I haven't adjusted anything, this is just stock setup, and already I can drive it like 90% of the way there. I don't need to adjust certain few little things there. But I mean, if this sort of driving with a slight oversteer on the throttle, slight understeer, turning in doesn't suit your driving style, there's so many other different cars that you can try, which is what's so cool about the class. So yeah, I don't know if Javier's unmuted or not, but do you have anything to say about these class of cars in Dirt Rally 2? Probably not, he's still muted. In any case though, that's the first car. I'm gonna head into the main menu real quick and switch to the second car that I'm thinking of. And the idea will be that either we'd stick to one car for the entire season, which will be a year long or half a year long, or we might even change around. So the same stage again. This time we're going to go to the Group A cars. And just for some old school Asia Pacific rallying, I don't know if I have the livery here, but no, I don't. So yeah, let's take the Subaru Legacy in. Because why not? This class of car, Group A cars, on paper they're all front engine, 2-litre, turbocharged, 4-wheel drive production cars, but when you're driving them they're so different. The Mitsubishi Evo 6 is so like robotic going through the stages. The Subaru is quite a lot more expressive, dynamic, and you have things like the Lancia Delta, which is super quick on tarmac, so you can imagine how interesting that's going to be going through these stages. But yeah, Taylor Farm Sprint again for this next one, and again I'm just going to drive them on soft tires, no setup changes, just to see how it all pans out.
You're going to love Legacy.
Oh yeah, this is
it's a really great car to throw around in any corner.
Yeah, I just have images of Colin McRae and Marco Allen, Ari Vatanen used to drive this car professionally, and it's just a sideways gang. It's incredible, so can't wait. Let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 100, grid, 6 left, very long of a crest, 30, 6 right, very long of a crest, opens 60.
Gotta be a bit careful with the old early 90s suspension.
Flat jump,
not as much travel.
6 left long, tightens, don't
Yeah,
cut through
like
gate.
2000cc cars, which
50,
feels better in on
6
this
right of a crest,
section.
30, 6 left, 5 right of a crest, to
can
grid,
feel- I can
5
see now
left,
the car feels
30, 4 right
more
of a
bounce
crest,
here.
Yeah.
into 5 left, into 5 right long, opens of a crest into turn square
how
left
the
unseen,
technology progresses with them
30,
suspension.
6 left of a crest.
But with this car, one thing you always feel like on gravel, it's almost not necessary to use the handbrake
50, tarmac bridge into 3 right tightens,
unless it's really tight, obviously.
30, crest into 4 left long, tightens 2. 30, 6 right, into 3
sideways.
left long,
I think
50 through grid,
it's only really
tarmac, 80,
80s that
flat middle of a long crest,
handbrake
100,
actually exists
turn cut square
in
right,
cars, right? Like,
Yeah, pretty much. There used to be a device
50.
called a handbrake splitter, so it would disconnect the center differential,
middle of a jump maybe,
or as long as you pull the
gravel,
handbrake.
50,
I heard of that.
into 4 right,
They
tightens of a
used to
crest,
have one in
into
Audi
5 left long, opens
Yeah.
50, bump
That was the
melee,
first
6
time in
left of a
WRC.
jump,
It's also the first time in WRC for
into 4
anti-lag,
long,
so not
opens
just 4-wheel
to
drive
tarmac,
system that
5
Audi
left,
did, but a
very
lot
long,
of other innovations.
tightens, 120,
But yeah, you're right. These cars had to turn because you couldn't rely on the handbrake.
flat middle of a crest, a grid, 30, 4 right, very long of a
Obviously
crest,
nice.
into 6 left,
The
Yeah.
red
into
Quattro
6
is
right,
to Chongqing.
Yeah.
30,
It's a bit
left,
frightening to
very
drive.
long, tightens 4. Into crest, into caution, 4 right long, tightens.
Even the dirt ready
into
to
2 left,
cars
don't
just
cut.
Yeah.
cannot turn it anywhere
Into
without
3 right
hitting
long, tightens 2.
like, the walls or the fences. Pretty much
Into
anything
crest,
on the
into
side.
3 left.
Pretty much, yeah. Because it has those big
Right.
arches, right?
30, turn square left, don't cut through narrow gate.
Key arrows.
50.
Makes things like this.
Flat
some
middle of
kind
a crest jump, 50.
Old Transformers cars. So
Yeah.
5 left, into 5 right, into 5
So
left.
anyways,
long,
first impressions on the Legacy, like Meister just said, it's amazing to drive. It makes you feel like Colin McRae when you drive it. It's quite cool.
5 right of a dip,
And if you really want the car to dance around, you can try McRae's old diff settings, which is maximum tightness in the rear, almost totally open in the front. Probably explains why it was so sideways, because even with basic setup, this car is so sideways. And you can turn it under brakes as well, which is another cool thing with these things, if you can avoid locking the wheels up. A little bit harder to learn how to drive at the start, because it wants to leave the road all the time. It's very overexcited in that way.
80.
But maybe, perhaps, ultimately more rewarding when you get it right.
30, 6 right, into 4 left tightens. 60 over finish, into crest, to stop.
So there you go. It's again first run through the stage. There's nothing like scientific, but 3:58. Still very quick time. So these cars aren't slow, but yeah, it's another option for a championship. And I've always liked the idea of using these cars for a full championship, because they were run. This was back when Asia Pacific was at the Asia Pacific Rally Championship was at its peak. You had drivers from Europe, guys like Colin McRae and Tommy Mäkinen, used to come to Asia to try and uphold honours for Subaru and Mitsubishi, and it's such an iconic part of the history in Asian motorsports. It's nice to bring it back, perhaps. So, like I said, leave a comment down below and if you guys think that this should be a Far East Championship class car. But yeah, overall I think the class is quite nice, and this car though, this car's amazing. So what are your thoughts on the Legacy? It's pretty good, eh?
30, correct.
no, I think I'll explain that like before the coming.
I really like your Copilot without much.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, this car slides around a lot.
Middle of a long
Yeah,
crest,
it makes you feel like you're really pushing very hard when you're driving. You see him coming into the corner. I've only used the handbrake maybe once or twice. Everything else is just throwing the car in. It's harder to learn how to drive than the 2000cc cars, but at the same time it's more rewarding, more challenging, and it's not hard, it's just a little bit trickier.
And the options a lot to use that.
Oh, there's a lot. You can do a lot of
I mean,
options.
in this class, or is it just this car?
There's loads more options. You have the first generation Impreza, you have the Mitsubishi Evo 6, the Lancia Delta, Ford Escort Cosworth, which is one of my personal favorite rally cars, just for the sound of it. And yeah, so it's a very varied class as well.
Okay, sounds good. Set it up.
Yeah. So it's between these two cars. Again, leave a comment down below. I'll probably post this around to some of the other groups as well, see what they think, via all the usual WhatsApp groups that we like to go and lepak in. And yeah.
I share it in the AI.
Oh, thanks. I was going to do that afterwards, but maybe we'll get some live reactions. So just to recap, that's the first option is the up to 2000. The second option, the wonderful Roubaix cars.
Continues, opens of a double crest 30.
So we can import liveries.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that we found that was cool. I actually have a livery for the Evo 6. That's kind of cool. It's the old PERT rally livery, so the ex-Karam Jitsing car that I believe someone in the UK now owns, and it looks really, really cool. And it's nice to see a PERT livery on a Group A car, because that was one thing that I know that Karam was always really keen on driving the Group A cars. So, at least part of that history, part of the livery is on a Group A car, even if it's only virtual. It's quite fun. So for reference, the Focus was a 355. This car is a 358, as you'll see the time stop as it comes across the line there. 358.9, almost 359, so not that much slower, but still definitely slower. So in any case, we're going to go into the main menu. There's only a couple more cars we're going to try down this stage here. The first one is the crazy one, and this perhaps will be a class in the championship as opposed to an actual realistic thing. But again, it's just because I'm that crazy. I'll probably go with, as the thumbnail suggests, the BMW M3 Evo. So this class of car is not for the faint of heart. This is probably going to be the pro division. If we do decide to go with two different car classes, maybe have two separate clubs, one for the two-wheel drive guys and one for the four-wheel drive cars, this definitely is one of them. Now, this is the difficult option. We'll go and look at the easy option after this. So it's also from the 80s, and it's actually a really sweet thing to drive around in. But for now, Taylor Farm Sprint in a BMW M3, and well, realistically, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, partly I want to see what a really difficult championship would look like, and partly I just like driving rear-wheel drive cars. And to be honest with you, this is more of an excuse to drive this car, and which I don't get to do so often because people don't tend to run rear-wheel drive categories. But also the other thing, the Belgian championship that they're doing in Dirt Rally 2 has a classics category that runs alongside it. So anybody that's doing the main championship gets to do the classic one as well. So yeah, it might be an option. This will definitely be gravel spraying everywhere and not a lot of forward momentum, but see how it goes.
5, 4, 3,
That
2,
sound of the car
1,
though.
go.
To be
100,
frank, despite
grid, 6 left, very long of a crest, 30,
car
6
being
right, very long of a crest,
hard to
opens
drive.
60,
Yeah,
it's only because it's
Flat
real
right
to
of a
drive.
jump,
If you know how
40.
to drive the real
flat jump, into 6 left
can
long, tightens door, cut through
auto
gate,
control the car. It's actually the easiest, one of the
50.
easiest real drive cars.
6 right of a crest, 30, 6 left,
Okay.
What will be the main
5
difference
right of a crest, to grid, 5 left,
as compared to
30.
driving the R5? Say?
4 right of a crest,
well, it's
into
just
5 left,
the idea would
5
be
right
more
long,
variety
opens of a
into
crest,
the
into turn, square left unseen.
for the championships, because the majority of the we all knew that was going to happen, so I'm going to restart being that guy.
Now I see it.
As soon as you say it, roll.
4,
That was more my
3,
fault though, so
2,
we'll try that again.
go. 100, grid, 6 left, very long of a crest, 30, 6 right, very long of a crest, opens 60.
But yeah, a lot of the rear-wheel drive cars, like the Escorts and stuff like that, are very, very difficult to drive.
Into 6 left long, tightens door,
Even
cut
this
through
year.
gate,
Yeah, the Sierras, it's okay as long as you remember to loosen the rear diff, because the standard Sierra
6 right of a
setup is
crest,
impossible to
30,
drive.
6 left, 5 right of a
But I think
crest,
the
to
key
grid,
thing is because these cars have independent rear
30,
suspension, they're not as hard as like the Escort.
4 right of a crest, into 5 left, into 5
That
right
classic
long,
car to drive,
opens
the
of a
Escort and the
crest,
Cadet, the
into turn,
H2
square
rear-wheel
left
drive
unseen.
cars are really something quite difficult to drive. This car, if
30.
you're Basically,
6 left over crest.
if you're not using
To
full
flat,
throttle
middle
coming out
over
of the
crest,
corners there, you can be quite
30,
neat and tidy.
4 left, tightens 3.
In fact, that's the quickest way to drive a rear-wheel drive car. It's weird to say this, but a front-wheel drive car you have to be more aggressive than a rear-wheel drive one,
30.
which is not the popular
Crest, into 4
image
left
that
long,
you see
tightens 2.
in rally. You always see that the rear-wheel drive guys are very aggressive and the front-wheel drive guys are quite neat and tidy, but that's just more visual. When you actually get into
50
driving the
through
car,
grid.
it's all about
Tarmac,
controlling the
80,
throttle there.
flat middle of a long crest, 100, turn cut square
I
right,
like the fact that driving rear-wheel drive cars
50,
really rewards you
Yeah,
for
flat
driving it
middle of a jump maybe,
90%,
50, 4 left long,
not
into
not
4
like
right,
going
tightens over
flat
crest,
out and push.
into 5 left long, opens 50,
You know, with rear-wheel drive cars,
maybe
it doesn't
30,
work every time.
6 left over jumps,
As I like learned.
into 4 right
yeah.
long,
It sort of forces you to learn
tarmac,
throttle control.
5 left,
But what I found is that
very
after
long,
driving
tightens,
rear-wheel drive cars for a while, once you jump back into a four-wheel drive car, you can
120,
handle those high-speed sideways moments a lot better.
flat middle of a crest,
Just
grid,
your how
30,
accurate your steering
very long
becomes.
of a crest, into 6 left, into 6 right, 30, 5 left,
And it's just
very
about
long,
being
tightens 4,
smooth and not panicking when the
into
car starts to
crest,
slide
into
around.
caution, 4 right long
Where is it?
tightens, into 2 left on cut,
Yeah,
into
it is
3 right
Australia.
long, tightens 2,
I can tell what it
to crest,
Yep.
into 3 left, into 4 right, 30, turn square
Now, of
left,
course,
cut through
the
narrow
other
gate.
question that we'll have to answer, perhaps in another video, is where we're going to be
50.
running these events.
Flat middle of a
But,
crest, jump,
For my money
50,
anyways, Australia's got to be in a Far East Championship, because it's so similar to a lot of other
5
places
left.
as well.
into 5 right, into 5 left long,
And it was part of the Asia Pacific Championship along with New
right
Zealand,
long.
so
opens, continues over double crest, 30,
definitely one of the places we'll be going to, but who knows, we might bring in a
5
wildcard
right
event
of
or
a
two.
dip and jump, into 5 left long,
Germany?
over crest, tightens
Maybe.
4, into 6 right of a crest
This
long,
car,
tightens 4
tarmac
narrow,
behave, okay?
into caution,
yeah.
5 left long,
This car on tarmac
tightens
is
2 over
magical.
crest,
We might just do that to end the stream.
30,
Jump into
5 right, into 5 left of a jump,
jump
maybe.
into bound holder for a few corners.
Into 4 right long, tightness 3, opens over crest,
It is
into 4
magical
left, don't
rear-wheel
cut over narrow
driving
bridge,
tarmac. Yeah.
80,
If
crest,
tarmac physics
3
was
left,
good enough.
opens
Yeah.
over crest, 30,
No, it's not in the rally,
6
but if you
right,
try
into
other
4
games
left
like
tightens.
WRC9 or Richard,
60 over finish,
Yeah.
into
they have
crest,
the
to
much
stop.
better tarmac physics. It's
Yeah.
actually really nice to try. rear-wheel
So
drive
how
out
have
there.
you tried WRC9?
I tried for a bit. All the
The physics?
official cars, the new generation cars are great to drive. Although, it's going to take me some time to understand their different ways of different physics, I should say.
Yeah.
And yeah, the historic car. They have historic cars as well, although not as vast, not a vast collection like Dirt Rally 2 has.
Yeah.
And their historic cars are frankly a bit rubbish.
Yeah, it's one of
It
those
looks bad.
situations, isn't it?
It looks a bit awkward, this car in rally. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never
it's
seen an M3 on a rally. It looks strange.
yeah.
To flat.
But I mean, they did have a big, quite a good history. A guy called Patrick Snyers used to drive one, and they actually won WRC event. It won in 1987 in the Tour de Corse rally. And it was notable because it was the last last rear-wheel drive car to win a rally, win a WRC rally. Was this thing? So it is definitely the most weird rally car, but because rallying was using the same regulations as Group A, touring car racing, It meant that the rally cars and the race cars conform to the same rules. So even though they're built differently,
50.
a Group A touring car can go rallying. So that's why we have the Sierra, that's why we have the M3. It's one of those things where in a sim, I guess it's not as enjoyable as driving in real life, because in real life these cars are beautiful little things to drive. Obviously they were never competitive on gravel because you need four-wheel drive to be quick on gravel. But yeah, they had their one blip in the sun. But it was the unfortunate thing was that BMW really didn't put their heart into rallying, so they never came up with a four-wheel drive version of this car or a turbocharged version of this car. But one wonders what could have happened if they did. So that's one option for like a historic section for the Far East Championship, which would just be for fun. But it's the other thing, like I said, for the Belgium Championship that I really wanted to get involved in here. It is difficult to drive for a newcomer. In fact, it's nigh on impossible for if you drive the car for the first time. But otherwise, it's manageable. The escorts and stuff like that are much harder to drive, but it's a lot of fun. In any case, oops, we're going to go and look at these maybe slightly more realistic historic section there. One more car to look at before we end the stream off, and that's going to be the H2 cars.
H2.
So again, as a historic section, I'm going to take the 205 because Peugeot.
Yeah, nice, yeah.
And these cars are probably going to be a lot more people are definitely fans of the H2 front-wheel drive cars as opposed to the H3 rear-wheel drive cars, because these cars are a lot easier to drive. They're actually not as boring as they look, even though they look like very standard versions of sort of ordinary European cars, but they're actually quite fun to drive. You can get them quite sideways if you try hard enough, and it's a car that I think rewards 10/10 motoring quite a bit. So yeah, like I said, just for one last run through, soft tires. It was 415 for the previous historic car. Let's see, this probably actually will end up being quicker on gravel. Front-wheel drive cars tend to be,
5,
especially in this game.
4,
So, let's see.
3, 2, 1, go. 100, grid, 6 left, very long of a crest, 30, 6 right, very long of a crest, opens 60, flat right of a jump, 40, flat jump, into 6 left long, tightens, don't cut through gate, 50.
Because it's still a historic car, you have to be so
right
careful going through these jumps
30,
here.
6 left.
Never quite able to
5
find the
right
line
of a
to go
crest,
flat out through there,
to
but
grid. 5 left.
it's a great way to learn
30,
how to drive in
right
Dirt
of a
Rally
crest,
2.0 as well. I
into
think
5
these cars
left,
are the most balanced
into 5
for
right
beginners.
long, opens of a crest into turn square left unseen.
Oops.
30.
Oops.
6 left of a crest. To flat middle of a crest. 30. 4 left.
There I was saying it's easy, nice and easy to drive, and I toss it in.
Tarmac bridge into 3 right tightens.
But it follows with the rest of the theme of these cars, is that they're easy to learn how to drive, but hard to master as well. These are just starting to get fast enough that you really do need to learn how to balance the car through the corner.
6 right into 3 left long.
Manage the understeer, manage the oversteer. And
50 through grid.
really learn how to drive the
Tarmac
cars.
80. Flat middle of a long crest. 100. Turn
Being a
cut
small
square
hatchback,
right.
the car handles
50.
pretty well in the corners. It's a very nimble.
Flat middle of a jump maybe. To gravel. 50. Full
Its
left
strength-
long.
Yeah.
Yeah, its strengths I think is definitely in the
Right,
twisty
tightens
sections
of a
of it.
crest. Into 5 left long. Opens 50.
Why is it the easy cars? Every time we say the word easy.
Yep.
Bump maybe.
I think we're just jinxing
30.
ourselves, but
6
yeah,
left
we
of a
do
jump.
promise that this car is not as hard as it looks to drive.
opens to tarmac. 5 left, very long, tightens.
I mean, people
120,
even includes me
gravel,
for the
flat middle of a
often
crest,
underestimate
grid, 30,
how
4 right,
hard
very
it's
long of a crest, into 6
hard,
left,
right?
To drive fast.
into 6
Yeah.
right,
When you drive it on the limit.
30, 5 left, very long,
Because with
tightens
all
4,
the halt steer,
to crest, into caution,
Actually
4
turning the car
tightens,
into the corner.
Yeah.
into 2 left on cut,
yep.
into 3 right long, tightens 2, to crest, into 3 left, into 4 right, 30,
I
turn
open-
square
I
left
open
on cut through narrow
Golf,
gate,
their speed and
50,
thinking that I could
middle of a crest jump, 50,
just nail any stages with this car driven in like
5 left, into 5 right,
Yeah,
into 5
yeah, I did the
left
hard
long,
way.
Yeah.
into
So
5
that's the
right
thing,
long,
the-
continues, opens of a double crest,
Again, this
30,
would be the sort of quote-unquote fun class, historics,
5
whatever you
right
want to
of a
call it.
dip and jump, into 5 left long of a crest, tightens 4, into 6 right of a crest long, tightens 4 narrow, into caution 5 left long, tightens 2 of a crest,
If you back off the pace just a little bit,
30, 5 right,
it's,
into 5 left of a jump maybe,
yeah, like I said, easy to learn, but very, very hard to master once you try and go
opens of a
flat out.
crest, into 4 left,
probably
don't cut of a narrow bridge.
Maybe the best way to say is that
80.
it's more stable than the BMW
Crest,
or the
3
rear-wheel
left,
drive cars, but
opens
just
of a
as hard
crest,
to drive
30,
fast.
6 right, into 4 left tightens,
So very bent
60 over
pattern,
finish,
second-hand
into
car
crest,
coming
to
across the
stop.
line. Ugh. 422. That would have, to be fair, been more like a 412 if I was actually driving properly. So this, I think, especially on a twistier stage, like in some of the places in New Zealand, you'll find this car could definitely keep up with the M3. But Peugeot 205 GTI, and of course the other GTI in the game, the Golf, another option. So, like I was saying, I'm still thinking of making it a 2-class system. Maybe have the round for 4-wheel drive cars, and then immediately after that, a sort of a fun rally for 2-wheel drive cars. Just for fun and for laughs. And also just to enjoy some of these old race cars. So yeah, let us know again in the comments. I'll have a read of them later on in the week, and we'll let you guys know in another stream what the commenters have to say. But yeah, Meister, you have any favorites between the 4-wheel drive cars? And
So I'm going to root for the first car that you drove. At least the focus doesn't happen.
yeah,
Yep.
it's a nice car though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
But even the Group A wasn't too bad either.
Yeah.
Especially the cars that you could throw around,
Yeah.
like the Legacy, and even the Delta, the Lancia Delta, which is, I would say, wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's rewarding when you can cope with their immense speed.
Yeah.
Their engine, from their engine, like the fastest car in the Group A.
Yeah, that was before the air restrictors came and took all the horsepower away, but of course the teams came with technology and things like that to counteract it. So yeah, definitely a discussion will go on amongst ourselves for quite a bit. I don't know if Javier is still there. What do you think of all these cars? Which one do you fancy the most?
I think this car is something I would like to drive. I think like this and the Polo. I think the Polo is in this category as well, right?
Yeah.
Is this a 4-wheel drive?
It's a 2-wheel drive, front-wheel drive cars. Naturally aspirated engine. It's like the most basic type of car. like an average supermarket car, but with 200 horsepower almost.
I'm probably scared of drives after the few tests that I've done, but I haven't tested much in this car. Yeah, I guess we are scared.
So yeah, it's
This car.
yeah. So definitely an interesting thing.
It's a big change. Probably I've been using fairly easy to drive cars, I guess, right? Like
Yeah.
5 euros.
Yeah.
And this is a jump of a level, maybe.
Yeah. But I guess for you, the 2000cc class cars, the Focus, the C4s, the Imprezas, because those cars are fairly easy to drive to start off with as well. That could be up your street.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever you guys set up, I will definitely try. So
Yeah,
just gotta put some more time onto this. Yeah.
absolutely. So we definitely have one entry confirmed. Let me write that down. Until then, we'll probably leave this stream done here. I probably might end up streaming again in a few minutes' time because there's a cute little AC thing happening as well. But for now, there's the options laid out before you. I'll let you guys know what the consensus is for the two classes of cars. So basically a 4-wheel drive class and a 2-wheel drive class. And once we're done with that, we can have a look at some different rallying locations. But for now, that's going to be it from us here. And we'll see you all in the next stream. Bye for now.
Bye bye.